So in this section we start to use some basic commands in R. And we've already actually seen one of these, which is the print command with the text hello world. So actually what I can do now is I can minimize this console. So the console, I said, was the way that people tended to use R way back when it was first invented. But now people write their code in a more reproducible and interactive way using these markdown documents. So I can make that smaller, so I've got more room to see what's going on in this document. So as I said, this line of code, line number 11, is using a function, and we'll explain more about functions in a little while, called print. And print, well, as its name implies, it prints some text to the screen, and inside these curved brackets I write the text that I want to print, in this case hello world with quotation marks around it. Another basic type of command we can do is some basic arithmetic. Now we need to, so this markdown file is a mixture of text and R code, but you need to clearly specify which parts are text and which are R code, so R knows how to deal with it. So I could type 2 plus 2 here on this line 14, but you'll notice that it looks quite different to lines 10 to 12. These lines have these curly brackets of an R enclosed in the brackets, and it's got a lighter grey background, and there's this play button where I can run the code. On this line there's nothing to run, there's no way I can run this code and print in the result. So I need to create one of these new sections like I have between lines 10 to 12, and the way I do that is by going to the menu, insert, and saying insert R. And this allows me to write new pieces of code, so I can say 2 plus, oh, not 2 equals 2 plus 2, and I can run that by pressing this button. I can add new line, I can add new R commands to this section by pressing return, and I can type in, for example, 2 minus 2. Now if I wanted to just run this calculation, I can press Ctrl Enter on this line, and I just do the sum 2 minus 2, which is slightly different from the pressing the play button. Pressing play runs everything that's inside. So it does 2 plus 2, prints out 4, 2 minus 2, and prints out the result 0 underneath. So you can have multiple lines of R code within the same code chunk, is what these are referred to. Another sum I could do is 4 times by 3, so to demonstrate multiplication, or I could do 4 divided by 3 with this symbol standing for division. You'll notice that every time it prints one of these answers as a number, it also prints a 1 with square brackets around it. This means that R is producing one output value. We'll see that R can store and manipulate lots of sequences that are, well, any size you like really, and this number inside the square brackets is a placeholder to tell you which part of the output you're currently looking at. So the number to the right is the first element in the output. We'll see some examples where we've got slightly longer sets of output. I'll insert a new R chunk here, because you can have more complicated expressions that involve multiplication and addition. So here I do 2 plus 2 times by 3, and R has an order in which it performs these operations. It uses a system called BODMAS, which is brackets over division, multiplication and subtraction. In this particular example, it does the 2 times by 3 first and then adds on 2 to the result. If you want, you can be more explicit and say exactly which calculation it does first. So you could put the brackets around 2 plus 2 or 2 times by 3, and you should see you get a different result. R can also do more sophisticated types of calculation. Oops, so I tried to insert a code chunk there. So there is a code chunk shortcut which is Control-Alt-I on some computers, but apparently not on Windows. So until I work out what the shortcut is, I'm going to stick with the menus for now. So it knows what the integer numbers are, the whole numbers. It also knows what pi is, 3.1415, etc. And we can do things like work out the sign. There's a pre-built function for doing the sign, and you have to say in brackets what number you want to calculate the sign of. And you can do the same for cos, tan, and so on. So far we've done some simple calculations and we've printed the results to the screen. In the next part we'll see what we can do when we want to save these results. So we want to store them in memory so we can use them later on in our analysis.